She kicked my door so hard that it swung open, and before I could even step out of my office, she marched inside like she owned the entire place. "This is an HOA inspection," she shouted, waving a flimsy clipboard in my face. "You're already violating 3 community rules." I stared at her, confused, because I never agreed to any HOA. She knew that. Yet she still walked deeper into my living room, touching things, checking corners, and pretending she held real authority. "You can't live like this," she snapped. "This house needs to be cleared today." Her voice shook with fake confidence, but she didn't expect me to stay calm. She didn't expect me to follow her silently as she tried to open my bedroom door. And she definitely didn't expect me to say in a low voice, "You just forced your way into a federal officer's home." She froze for a moment, then smirked. "Federal officer, please. People like you say anything to avoid HOA rules." She actually laughed inside my house, but as she raised her phone like she was about to call someone, maybe her fake board or her imaginary inspection team, I noticed something strange. Her hands were trembling, not from fear but from excitement, like she wanted to catch me doing something wrong. I kept my voice steady. "You're trespassing. Leave now." She stepped closer, eyes full of arrogance. "No, I'm not leaving," she whispered. "Not until I see everything you're hiding." Then she walked toward the locked door at the end of the hallway, the one room no one entered without clearance. She didn't know who I really was. She didn't know what I kept in that room. And she didn't realize how quickly her life was about to change. Because the moment she touched the locked doorknob, I knew she wasn't here for an inspection. She was here for something much bigger, and she had just broken into the wrong man's home. The moment her hand gripped that doorknob, she paused long enough to take a slow breath, like she was preparing herself to uncover something powerful. "What's in here?" she asked. "People like you always hide things." I didn't answer. I just watched her twist the knob harder, even though it was locked. She pushed until her voice cracked with irritation. "Open it," she demanded. "As your HOA inspector, I have full authority." "You have nothing," I replied quietly. She turned, annoyed that I wasn't afraid. "If you don't open this door," she said, stepping closer, "I'll call the county and report you for obstruction. They'll take your house." "Don't test me." Her confidence felt unnatural, like someone had promised her protection. That's when I noticed her badge. It wasn't from any HOA, it wasn't from the county, and it wasn't from anything official. It was printed on cheap plastic, and the word inspector wasn't even spelled correctly. I raised an eyebrow, and she quickly hid it behind her clipboard. "Don't look at that," she snapped. "You're already in enough trouble." She pulled out her phone again, not to dial anyone, but to point the camera at me. "I'm recording everything," she said proudly, "and when the board sees what's behind that door, they'll approve the action against you." Action? That word echoed. She didn't mean fines. She meant something bigger. I stepped between her and the door, and her eyes widened not with fear, but with anger. "Move," she ordered. "I'm not scared of you." "You should be," I said softly. She scoffed and shoved past me, her shoulder hitting mine with a weak challenge. "The HOA sent me because everyone knows you're hiding something illegal," she said, "and I'll prove it." Before I could react, she pulled a hairpin from her pocket and jammed it into the lock. She was picking the door to a protected room inside a federal judge's home while filming herself. "I warned you," I said, but she didn't listen. The lock clicked, and the moment the door cracked open, her smile disappeared. Her phone lowered, her breath stopped, because she saw something she never expected, and for the first time since forcing her way into my home, Karen realized she wasn't the hunter. She was the one in trouble. The door opened only an inch, but that was enough. She saw the sealed files, the encrypted laptop, the wall of evidence, photographs marked with federal tags. Her mouth fell open as she stepped back, like her mind couldn't accept what she was seeing. This has to be a setup," she whispered. "You're lying, right?" I stepped toward her, calm and steady. "You broke into a restricted room in a federal judge's home while recording yourself and using a fake badge. Do you understand what that means?" Her phone slipped from her hand and hit the floor. She didn't even try to pick it up. She just stared at the room like it was a nightmare she walked into by accident. No, they told me you were dangerous," she said, shaking her head. "They said you were hiding crimes. They promised that if I caught something on camera, I'd get the authority to remove you from the neighborhood." "Who told you that?" I asked quietly. Her lips trembled. "The HOA board. They said you were just a stubborn man refusing rules. They promised me a higher position if I helped them bring you down, so you broke in." I asked. She didn't answer, but she didn't need to. I picked up her phone. It was still recording. Every step she took, every lie, every threat. I turned the screen toward her. "This is enough to bring charges against you and the entire group behind you." She stepped back, panic taking over. Please, I didn't know. I thought I was doing the right thing. Before she could finish, a loud knock hit the front door. Not a normal knock, a firm, commanding one. She froze. Who is that? Back up, I said calmly. She shook her head in disbelief. You didn't call anyone. You didn't even touch your phone. I didn't need to, I said, because the moment she forced her way inside, my security system alerted the Federal Protection Unit assigned to me. The knock came again, louder. I opened the door, and 2 federal officers stepped inside with authority that needed no explanation. Karen's legs nearly gave out when she saw their badges. She forced entry, I said, used fake authority, attempted to access restricted federal material. Karen dropped to her knees, hands shaking. No, please, you don't understand. I was told, but the officers didn't need excuses. They cuffed her gently but firmly, reading her rights as she cried, insisting she was following HOA orders. As they led her out, she looked back at me with tears running down her face. Please, I didn't know you were a judge. I looked at her calmly. You don't break into someone's home to find out who they are. Neighbors gathered outside, watching, some shocked, some whispering, some recording, but one older veteran next door nodded and said quietly, about time someone stood up to her. I closed my door in silence, and as I locked that room again, I thought about everything she believed. People like her didn't want fairness. They wanted control. But today, fairness won. And in a country built on rights and responsibility, that's how it should be. The end. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible HOA stories.